Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today at this month at Alliance HF. I'm Nancy Sasaki. I'm the Executive Director at Alliance Healthcare Foundation. Welcome. And today I have a guest speaker. I love it when I have guest speakers because they get to do all of the talking. But today I have Jessie Bustamante. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
Jessie is the Executive Director of the American Lung Association here in San Diego, so welcome. And I invited Jessie today because this is National Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And I thought, what a great opportunity to talk about lung cancer and what's happening in our community. So what do people need to know about lung cancer?
A lot. Many people won't know that every 5 minutes a woman is diagnosed with lung cancer, and every 8 minutes a woman is dying from lung cancer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, it is totally on the rise in never smoked and non-smoking women. Primarily women. Men have been pretty stable. What this means is individuals who never smoked a day in their life, smoked when they were in 9th grade for a few times, or maybe they smoked a lot when they were, I know my mother smoked for a while. I know she quit before she had children. People smoked, didn't know the risks. Because of that, now, though, individuals later in life are dealing with the effects, also including those who never smoked, which means it could be environmental factors, starting as early as age of 35.
Wow, as early as 35. So, you do hear about that, that those are the cancers that are rising. People have so much focus on breast cancer, on heart disease and that kind of thing. But, there definitely is a link. Are there symptoms? I mean, is there something we should be looking for?
So there is really nothing that you can detect lung cancer with. You may have a common cough. You may have pain somewhere. You go to your doctor and they're probably going to say, let's do some lung function tests. Let's look at this. Could be pneumonia. Let's put you on this medicine. And lo and behold, when you get to the point of realizing it's lung cancer, it's usually stage 3 or stage 4. It's too late. And there's nothing you can do about it at that point. So there's no early detection for lung cancer.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So do we have to become like our own hypochondriac kind of person? And anytime you're coughing, go to the doctor and say, I think it's lung cancer. Got to check me out.
Probably not necessarily, but we need to make physicians more aware that we need some kind of early treatment and detection, and we need research dollars to be able to figure out what's happening in our bodies that lung cancer is on the rise. There really is nothing you can do. When you go to a doctor, you can't say my lungs hurt. You're not going to feel a lump on your lungs. There's really nothing. So it takes a good doctor to be able to figure out and rule everything else out to say, okay, let's take a look. Could this be lung cancer?
So is it like familial? So like if somebody in my family had lung cancer, then I may be more prone to it? Or
from what I've heard from oncologists, if someone in your family has had a certain type of cancer, you are more likely possibly to get it. But regardless, it doesn't have to be in your family.
So basically you can be really healthy. Mm-hmm. You can do, whatever you do to stay in shape and everything. You could have never smoked, and you could still end up with lung cancer.
Correct. And we don't know why. So breast cancer, and Susan G. Komen has done an amazing job of figuring out early detection for breast cancer treatment. All these, it's just amazing. My grandmother's a lung cancer survivor, or breast cancer survivor, so I hold it very close to my heart. But when it comes to lung cancer, there's none of this. There's no rallying cry that we need to find a cure and that we need to figure out what's going on. There's just none of that.
Wow. This isn't very encouraging. Is there something that you can tell us that is encouraging?
Kind of. So what the Lung Association is doing is across the entire country, we've pulled together to start a campaign called Lung Force. But I have a swoosh on my shirt. I have one for you too.
Oh, good.
And what this swoosh is, it's our symbol. It's our pink ribbon. So turquoise is kind of the new pink. It's not taking away anything from breast cancer because they're doing phenomenal, but it's time for something fresh and for something new. And we need to join together and raise money, raise awareness about the fact that lung cancer is on the rise, and there's not enough research dollars going towards this cause. So we're kind of starting a national movement, just started in May. It takes a while to gain legs, but we're hoping that in the future, when you see turquoise and when you see the swoosh around whatever it may be, you're like, oh, if I purchase this, that's raising money for lung cancer. Or if I join this event, that's because we're going to find a cure one day.
So I don't have to dump ice on my head.
Nope, there is no ice bucket challenge, which was amazing. We don't have anything like that right now. But we're starting with some local walks and local events to get people around us and really support this. With breast cancer, you find tons of survivors. There's a huge rally around, let's find a cure here, survivors. When it comes to lung cancer, so breast cancer has a 98% survival rate. The survival rate of lung cancer is 15%.
And that's because they find it so late.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So when it comes to finding survivors and to be like, hey, let's rally around them, this is phenomenal, there aren't many in San Diego. I think I maybe know of 5 or 6,
Wow.
and all the others are still going through treatment. So they're survivors in my mind. To their mind, they're still fighting that good fight right now.
Right. I know one of the events that you do that one of these years I'm actually going to do it with you is the one where you go up all the stairs.
The Fight for Air climb?
Yeah, the Fit for Air climb. That one sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, and the Fight for Air climbs, when you get to the top, you are fighting for air, hands down. I like to run, and even, I thought I could do this, I ran a half marathon, I'm fine. But when you get to the top of the 30-some-odd floors, you're like, this is nothing like running. And it's hard. And it's basically when you get to the top, you feel like anyone who has a lung disease because you can't breathe.
Right.
Get excited.
Yeah. When's it coming up?
It's in March.
It's in March.
Yeah. You have time to prepare.
What do I have to do to prepare? Just walk stairs.
Stairs.
Just keep going.
A lot of that.
Stairs,
yes. Right? And you have a timing chip, so you're going to want to go fast. So maybe start off slow when you kind of do your training, but eventually try to go a little bit faster. Because the day of, there's so much momentum and excitement that you go fast, and by the top, you're like, how did I do that? Oh my gosh.
Somebody carrying me down?
Yeah, exactly. Hello?
Hello. So I see you brought me a bunch of candy.
Yes, don't eat them.
Oh. Well, that's no kind of gift.
So this is a representation that lung cancer kills more individuals than colon, breast, pancreatic, and prostate cancer combined. So the light blue is lung cancer, and all the other different 4 colors represent the other cancers.
Wow.
Just to kind of give you a visual,
right.
That lung cancer, it's the #1 cancer killer of men and women.
Yeah.
And as far as the cancer realm goes, this is the worst of the worst.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot more of these turquoise blue, right?
Exactly.
Chocolates in there. So it really kind of gives you a different perspective on where lung cancer stands with regard to the other cancers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And people say it's the unlucky cancer. It's what we hear.
So a lot of you out there that are watching today, you know that you can tweet us any questions that you might have at Alliance HF. And I hope we have some questions here. Hoping we get one for you. And we have one. There's a new, or maybe not so new, CDC government ad on anti-smoking. It's kind of pretty shocking. What are your thoughts about that?
So CDC had a representative who actually passed away, and it just really showed the effects of smoking with COPD. So COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Mm-hmm. Primarily we'll see individuals with an oxygen tank, oxygen backpack, they even have fanny packs now. Those individuals are not able to just take a deep breath in and out, primarily used towards the end stages of life. But COPD is the #2 killer, period, right below heart disease. It goes heart disease and it goes COPD.
Wow.
So those commercials will to raise awareness about COPD as a disease because it's deadly. I believe she passed away around in the early 50s, which is way too young. And that was, in effect, a direct correlation of smoking.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily we don't want lung cancer or COPD to be the old man smoking disease because they're not anymore. Right. They're affecting everyone.
Right. Especially if you say you can get it at 35.
And it's on the rise in women who never smoked.
Right.
Which means it could be from the stove, it could be environmental, did someone smoke around us? It's not us as women putting cigarettes in our mouth. There are other factors that we don't know about. Yeah.
Why don't they just do a lung transplant?
People do lung transplants, but they're not always successful. And there's a long waiting list for lung transplants. We have a volunteer right now, she's in her 30s, and she got a lung transplant after she had a lung disease, and she still only has about 40% lung capacity. Yeah. And when that lung capacity runs out, because this is a transplant, that will be the end of her life. So it doesn't always work. I wish it was that simple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of hope. There's not a whole lot to do to diagnose, but be ever vigilant, I guess.
Yes, and we just need to kind of follow Susan G. Komen tree, and that was phenomenal what they've done. We need lung cancer to take that same space, and let's rally together, find a cure, so that in 10 or 20 years we can say, oh, I got my lung cancer screening, I'm good.
Right.
That'd be phenomenal. We're
find something that we can do that.
Exactly.
Right? Instead of having to get that CT scan every time.
Exactly.
Right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else that you want to add? I mean, this is an opportunity to tell people everything you know, Jessie.
Well, no, just I encourage people to just join us. So lungforce.org, that's our website. There are events all around the country, wherever you're tuning in from. Just get involved, join us. It just means a lot to have people who are with us and say, I believe in this, I support it. Many of us have been touched by lung cancer or a lung disease. But we want to bring people together and say, let's find a cure and celebrate those, unfortunately, whose lives were lost. But the fact that we're going to raise money, we're going to fund research and really make a difference one day.
Yeah, hopefully get these
those turquoise beads, yes, a lot less.
The turquoise beads need to come down.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
You're welcome to stay as I finish up the television show if you would like.
Sure.
In fact, when I get to one other topic, it might be an interesting one for you to jump in on. So don't forget, everybody, to like us on Facebook, to follow us on Twitter at AllianceHF. Also, you can like us on LinkedIn, and then we've got all those other things like Pinterest and everything else going on. So there's so many ways you can keep in touch with the work that we're doing here at Alliance Healthcare Foundation. Also our website, get on our email list, all those that, they're still available. So many ways to get in touch with us. Don't forget, you can also send us a question on Twitter at AllianceHF. See if you can stump me. I just dare you. We wanted to move on to our mission support grants. 2 more days. Those applications are due by the midnight on Friday, November the 14th. So hopefully you've already started. You're looking forward to reading all of the proposals, probably getting over 100 of them, and also watching all of the videos. I'm hoping that people have started to look at those videos in terms of a way of getting us a glimpse at your leadership, whether it's the executive director, the CEO, or the entire leadership team, whether it's 2 people or 4 people or however many people. Just give us an idea of who's leading the organization, their commitment and their passion for the mission that you're serving. That would be great on the mission support grants. I think all of you have applied for a mission support grant, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure you have. And then the other topic that I wanted to talk about was about homelessness. And I know I've talked about homelessness in the past, but there's so much happening in our community now to try and end homelessness. And I like to talk about homelessness in kind of the broadest sense. I mean, if you don't have a home and a place to stay, I consider you homeless. And actually look at homelessness in terms of whether or not you're chronically homeless, whether or not you're a veteran homeless, whether you're a family homeless, whether you're a youth homeless. And there's all these different categories and a lot of funding. There's so much challenge in getting funding anyway, but there's challenges with regard to funding. And right now the feds are focused on chronic and veteran homeless. I was at a reception recently in Washington, D.C., and New Orleans is probably going to be the first city in our country to actually end veteran homelessness in their town. They have 200 more people to house that are veterans in their city, and they will have ended veteran homelessness. It's really exciting and amazing, and I'm just in awe of what they've been able to do, and hopefully we can learn from that and bring it to San Diego. There's also efforts underway to end the chronic homelessness. I was at a press conference today where the San Diego Housing Commission, and this is really huge, the Housing Commission has actually changed some of their strategic direction and decided that they're going to really move forward with putting more permanent supportive housing into our community. It'll be the first housing commission that's done so. And they were announcing the Hotel Churchill, which is downtown at 9th and C, is actually going to get converted into permanent supportive housing. There will be 72 units in that particular apartment complex that will house veterans as well as transitional age youth. So I get, the reason why I wanted you to stay is it's like, I know you talked about lung cancer happening in about 35 potentially, but what can young people do to protect themselves? Are there things that you try to educate them around to do now so that they aren't one of those statistics in the future?
I mean, obviously smoking is a big issue. So really making sure you're staying away from tobacco products and just taking care of yourself. But it's just enjoying the fact that you can even breathe with 2 healthy lungs. That's a gift that many people don't have. So not taking advantage of them to the point of harming them, taking advantage of getting out there, being active, just take care of yourself and your body. It's the best thing you can do.
Right.
You can't really say, I'm not going to get cancer because I do this for any cancer. But you can say, well, I lived a really healthy life and I did all that I could to take care of myself.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, definitely. There was also a conversation in Washington, D.C. about raising up the conversation about youth homelessness, because with all the focus on chronic and veteran, which are mostly adults, the youth kind of get left out of that conversation. And young people and homelessness is very different than adult homelessness. And we need to make sure as we build systems and we look at how we're actually providing housing for adults who are homeless, that we focus in and incorporate the youth homeless as well. Because if we don't solve youth homelessness, believe me, they will be the chronic homeless adults in the future. So it's really important that we continue to focus there. But I'm excited about all of the activity that's happening in San Diego County, a lot downtown. But the big news that this is, what are those called? Oh, spoiler alerts, that I think in December mid-December, early December, there's going to be an announcement of another city in our county that's going to get on board with the 25 Cities project and try to begin to get some coordinated assessment systems in place to better align funding, resources, and homelessness in their community. So I'm looking forward to that.
Neat.
So I'm going to check again and see if any of y'all have sent us any questions. You can ask Jessie or myself any question that you would like. Oh, there's a question here about the press conference that happened today. What was the big takeaway? I tell you, the biggest takeaway from the press conference today was this incredibly concerted effort led by the Housing Commission, also followed with Mayor Kevin Faulkner and Council President Todd Gloria. I got to get all these titles right. They don't just like flow out of my mouth. The 25 Cities Project, which is also going to be working with Zero 2016, and just this coordinated effort to provide the resources that we need to have to solve and end homelessness in our community. And that was the biggest takeaway, led by the Housing Commission with their strategic direction to provide more permanent supportive housing. That's the first best practice that you can do. Provide the housing, get them off the streets, and once they've got that shelter over their heads, they can begin to think about their health. Mm-hmm. They can think about the practices that will make them mentally more healthy, or that they can get off the substance abuses and alcohol and all of those kinds of things that are making them unhealthy. But first of all, they have to know they have a safe place to come at night. Mm-hmm. In the housing. So that's probably my biggest takeaway. Oh, that's just the ad that you and I are doing this. So you want to see yourself?
Oh, awesome.
So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us today. Once again, we'll be back with this month at AHF in December. And if you have any questions, always feel free to ask me. You can always like us on Facebook, ask questions through there. You can follow us on Twitter. You can like us on LinkedIn, Pinterest, all of the other things. Let me know. We can get you on our email list. I know, right? It's like, right. But I still have to write it down so I get them all down. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Bye now.
Thanks.